Hey there, saltwater anglers, and welcome to the Lower Chesapeake Bay Fishing Report, your local report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. This podcast is part of the Great Days Outdoors Network, and each week we'll be talking to local experts to learn ways that we can become better anglers and stewards of this fishery, whether you're out fishing in the ocean, the lower bay, or its tributaries. We also ask that every angler do their part in sustainable fishing practices, keeping this amazing fishery healthy and thriving for generations to come. Spring is here, and the water in the bite is warming up. So let us take a minute and hear who's bringing us this week's show, and then we're going to jump into the report and find out what's going on. Recently celebrating 100 years of history, Tohatsu is Japan's oldest outboard manufacturer, producing high-quality durable outboard motors since 1956. Tohatsu America Corporation is the U.S. and Canadian distributor of Tohatsu outboards, offering a full line of four-stroke motors ranging from 2.5 horsepower to 250 horsepower, and the recently introduced Alaris 6-kilowatt electric outboard. Tohatsu America is a recipient of the NMMA's Customer Satisfaction Index, or CSI, award for the 7th consecutive year. Tohatsu is uncompromising in its pursuit of outboard motors that are both durable and as light as possible. See it, hear it, feel the wind. Upgrade your waterfront with Killer Doc's premium dock furniture, built to last a lifetime in marine conditions. Crafted from marine-grade aluminum with a protective anti-corrosion coating, it's tough enough to handle the elements while providing unmatched comfort. Featuring sunbrella cushions with fast-drying, removable covers, our furniture stays securely in place even in storms. Choose from cabanas, club chairs, love seats, tables, and more to create your perfect dockside retreat. Durability meets elegance at Killer Doc. Check out the full collection at killerdoc.com today. Check it out. AFTCO has a gift for our listeners. They're now offering a camo sunglasses cleaner cloth with any purchase of AFTCO products. For cool mornings, I love my Reaper sweatshirt. And on those hot days, my Samurai sun shirt. You just can't beat the quality and performance. All you got to do to get your coupon code is text LCBFR to 779-345-2918 to get subscribed to our email list, and we'll send you the promo code via email. All right, y'all, welcome to this week's episode. I'm excited to bring back somebody that we've talked to several times before. We always enjoy the conversation. Captain Austin Hain with Fineo Sport Fishing. Welcome back to the show, man. How we been?
Good, man. Just hanging out, getting ready for the season. Fired up.
You sound excited, man. What are you waiting on? When is it coming?
It's coming soon. I mean, I would guess within 2 weeks, but as any fisherman, it starts getting warm outside and you start just going through all your tackle, going through your boat, just getting ready for the whole season. So I would say 2 weeks, but I want to be ready just in case it's tomorrow,
Right. Yeah, you got to be battle ready. And when you talk, we're talking about getting ready for an anticipation of what those that have never heard your voice before. Tell us a little bit about what you specialize in with Fineo Sport Fishing, kind of what your desired target species are.
Yeah. I fish for about anything that pulls hard, but honestly, the only addiction I have here is big cobias and big redfish. Sight casting, honestly, that actually, anything that sight casts is awesome. And so that would have to be cobia and redfish and Virginia. And, within 2 weeks, it's going to be popping off around here. So that's what I'm waiting on. And May is always our time here.
Yeah, that's awesome. You've been doing it for a long time too. 2025 will be what year of Fineo operating as a cobia specialized charter?
13 years.
13. Wow.
13. Yeah. Started 2000. Yeah. I've been cobia fishing for a while, but as a charter, yeah, it's been that long. But
that's incredible, man.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Oh, you mentioned some boat maintenance and some tackle. What's been going on with the boat? I know you've been grinding, getting that thing ready. It's a beautiful 24-foot Pathfinder with the tower. What are some of the maintenance items you've been taking care of?
It was nothing serious, which is always the best thing. Is I took it out about a week and a half ago, and you're always so scared to turn that key over and just turn the key over and drive it 10 feet off the dock. You're like, oh, here we go. What's gonna be wrong with it? But Thankfully, Yamaha, they've never let me down. I've been everywhere in this world with the Yamaha, offshore, inshore, doesn't matter. And they never fail, but it did turn over, just minor electrical stuff. My lights, the bilge, the live wells, the trim tabs, just typical electrical stuff. That's not that big of a deal to fix, but As for the engine and the cables and the steering, perfect. Good to go.
Yeah. It's almost like a vehicle. Like you could consider all those things that you mentioned at first as like almost like wear and tear items, like brake pads and fluids and this, that, and the other. It's stuff that has to be changed. It goes, corrosion, salt is in the air. Obviously, if you use salt to go on a regular basis, it really helps to keep that stuff at bay. But inevitably, a switch is going to get a little corrosion on the back of it, or something else is going to happen where you gotta, fiddle with it and make some adjustments. So, but now that you got the boat squared away and ready to rock, what would you say is going to be the first time that you go out and target cobias? It's what, almost the end of April? If you had to just throw a dart at a calendar, when would you go for them first?
So that's a hard question because it's 85 today, like 84 tomorrow, 86, whatever. It's 80, 80, 80. But they're still not catching them down south. And I do believe it was May 3rd last year. They caught their first ones in Emerald Isle, Cape
Okay.
Lookout, which is the next point south of Hatteras.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that's another like 60 miles at least to Hatteras Point. And I don't know when they called them there last time, but it was May 8th here. And honestly, I think we're warm. I'm sorry, it was May 8th here. I can't even remember the dates now. May 8th or May 9th, we caught them here. Whatever,
I
May
think
8th,
I
May
think it
9th
was
last
I
year.
think it was the 8th. I think it was the 8th here last year.
Whatever the case, we're actually warmer than last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a lot more south winds, which is what I normally look for. So
Mm-hmm.
I would guess I'm just gonna go with the same number. May 8th, May 9th,
May 8th.
somewhere in that
Yeah.
time frame. As long as we don't get a bunch of north wind, that cools off the air temperature, cools off the
Yeah.
ocean, everything like that. As long as we get a bunch of south, I'm gonna guess May 8th and May 9th. That'd be my
Okay.
time frame.
Very
First
cool.
few. It's not gonna be good, but the first few.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully they come in on top and not on the bottom.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a must.
Yeah. Well, we'll certainly be looking forward to some future, reports from you, especially once the sight fishing gets good and the big bull reds and the cobias move in. But in terms of what you've been doing lately, you mentioned a shakedown trip. What'd you guys go out and fish for? What'd you see and what'd you catch?
So yeah, that was my shakedown trip. We just went out to third, fourth island and we tog fished and
Mm-hmm.
we hopped around a couple pylons. The first few, you're getting a bite like every 5-10 minutes, nothing spectacular. And I'm like, oh, here we go, a slow spring. And we came up on one pylon that was holding heavy. It was a bite like every legit. You touch the bottom, 10 seconds, you'd have a tog. They weren't giants.
Mm-hmm.
They were between like maybe 14 to 18 inches was about your
Okay.
average. But it was fun pullage. You ever been out in the bay and your boat's running and you
Mm-hmm.
drop down, you catch fish that quick. It was great. Caught a couple sheepshead too, which is
Oh,
very odd. And that also emphasized how warm our spring has been. The temperature at the first island when I went out the other day, I hopped down just to see. It's like, you got to ride out in tower regardless, April or
oh yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Um, so I hopped downstairs, and at the first island, water temperature was already 65.4 degrees, which is insane for April. And for
That
reference
is.
point, not to change subject, but the Cobias and the Reds last year, um, May 9th, whatever day we called them, was 63. Anyway, 65 at the first island, and at the third island, it was a little colder. It was between 60 and 61.
Okay.
And either way, we caught, togs after tall tog after tall tog until
Mm-hmm.
the bait was gone. Handful of sheepshead. Again, nothing huge on the sheepshead, maybe 5-6 pounds. And it was so good that night, or so good that day. We were like, let's just stay out till sunset. And we caught a couple of stripers, which is a little early for those two. I usually get those first 2 weeks of May.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all between 26 to like 30 inches ish, and a ton of these giant bluefish. And I don't know if that's what caused the issue with not catching as many stripers, was because you couldn't cast without catching the bluefish. But
Mm.
the bluefish were nice, take and drag. They were probably 5 to 10 pounds. They were a good time too.
Whether you're hitting the sand with set rigs using the traditional scent strips for pompano or fishing the flats or marshes for speckled trout, redfish, and flounder, Fish Bites has something for you. They're family owned and operated in St. Augustine, Florida, and pride themselves on making reliably consistent fishing products for anglers of all ages around the world. Fish Bites bait and lures are made with pride in the Sunshine State, USA. Check out the full line of scented saltwater and freshwater baits at fishbites.com. We had a little bit of a internet glitch there for a minute, but you were saying when you were headed out, the first island you saw 65 degrees, and that what was the case last year when the red and cobias moved in? The temperature was what?
We were catching them at 63, and that was May 8th or May 9th, whatever date it was. We caught them last year. It was 63. So the water's already warmer.
Warmer.
Now,
Yeah.
I know this is the bay, but
Right.
it's already warmer than it was, 2 weeks from now. So,
oh wow, that's interesting. And I mean the togs, like you were saying, you were catching them near the bottom. You were out kind of in the third and fourth island range. I'm assuming fishing on the pylons. Was
yeah.
there was there a specific depth or water temperature? Like obviously it can be a lot of structure to choose from, but in terms of like getting your first couple bites, like talk me through the process of kind of getting located on a tog if you're just going out there for the first time.
Gotcha. So the pylons or the rocks always produce. If you want to go on top of the islands and just anchor down on the spine or spot lock, whatever, and drop down crabs, you'll catch tog eventually. But that can be a slower bite. So what I like to do is go to the pylons, and I usually start within about 10 to 12, I don't know, 15 pylons off of the rock piles, because usually as you get closer to the islands, you get more structure on the bottom. So what I do is I just drop down there, I give it 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, and see if I get a bite. And then if I don't, I go to the next pylon and then pylon hop all the way closer to the rock piles, because eventually once you get, right up on the third island, fourth island, you're going to hit rock piles. And the tog, they like structure, not only the pylons. If you can get rubble on the bottom, that's what you want. So the closer you get to the island, the better. So just fishing rubble on the bottom around pylons.
Got it.
You don't want to go middle between second and third island and drop down. It's probably gonna be sand unless you know something,
right.
But you want rocks.
Got it. That makes sense. And then in terms of like your, rod and reel and lure or bait, and whether you're using like a jig, a sweeper jig, or a dropper loop, like do you have a favorite that you feel performs or gets more bites than another, or do you just kind of stick with one or have a couple?
I just use a classic dropper loop.
Okay.
Chicken rig is what I call it.
Chicken
I just
rig.
use
Okay.
depending on the current. Last trip, the current was light, so we were using 4-ounce sinker, but that might go up to 6-ounce depending on how fast the water is moving, because you want your bait as close to the pylon as possible. You almost want your rod tip breaking, on the pylon. You want it to be touching it. So depending on how fast the current's moving, that's the ounce you're going to drop. And about from your weight, your dropper loop's going to be about 8 inches up or so. And I'm just using, I think I was using a 1.0 or a 2.0 J hook. Very simple rig. And I was using 40-pound fluorocarbon for that. And fiddler crabs. If you use the blue crabs, the problem with the blue crabs, don't get me wrong, blue crabs work. They're fantastic, offshore, insane, great tog bait. But when the water's a little bit warmer, like 60 degrees, you have the black sea bass, you have the oyster toads, you have all that stuff, and it is brutal. Sometimes you go to a pylon and say, hey, there's no togs here. But in reality, you couldn't even get to togs because the sea bass and the oyster toads were eating you up by the time you even set the hook on tog. So fiddlers in the spring for me.
So am I hearing you correctly that the black sea bass, the oyster toads are less likely to attack a fiddler crab on a hook than they are to go after a piece of cut blue crab?
In my opinion, yes. I caught 0 sea bass, 0 oyster toads last time. It was all togs and all sheepshead.
Interesting. I mean, I guess the difference there is that a fiddler crab is still kind of within its shell. It's not maybe not emitting a bunch of like flavor or smell scent into the water, whereas a piece of cut blue crab is, emitting because it's, been opened up, so to speak.
Yeah. And the fiddlers, we keep alive as well. So I'm sure that helps a little bit. You just break off their big claw
Hmm.
and you run the hook to their big claw section out the little claw, and so they still moving. They're grabbing onto the pylons, whatever they want to do down there, and I think that keeps the critters away a lot.
Got an important question for you. Can I safely place my hand down into, a bucket full of fiddlers? Like, am I going to be bleeding and going to the hospital, or does it just hurt a little bit if I get, pinched by one?
They are scary looking. They look like a spider that's evil, but I've never had an issue. I'm not, I don't want to say this because somebody will do it and we'll have to hear about it. But you could put your finger in their big claw and it's not going to hurt you. Yeah, it might put some pressure on you, but it's not a blue crab. No chance, 0%. I'm not reaching it with my bare hands. But
Right.
fiddler crabs, I go in there all the time, scoop a handful up, pick the one I want, break his big claw off. I'm good to go.
Okay.
They don't mess with it at all.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Good to know. Because I've always wondered that, when I've tried to handle them before in the past, I've been like overly careful, thinking like maybe it'll get me and it'll, make me bleed.
Dude,
Maybe not.
they look scary, man. They got that
Oh
huge
yeah.
claw. It looks like it's coming to get you, but there's no. I mean, I don't want to say they won't ever hurt you, but like, no. I mean, I've
Not
never
the
been hurt, and I've handled millions of them.
Yeah.
So
Looking to protect your dock with materials built to last? Shoreline Plastics has you covered. As leaders in composite marine dock pilings and building materials, they engineer solutions that stand the test of time. Their EcoPile is the ultimate composite piling designed for longevity and eco-friendliness, ensuring your dock remains strong for years. And if you need a quick fix for worn pilings, try Snap Jacket, a durable solution that restores and extends their life. Visit shorelineplastics.com to discover how you can elevate your next marine project. Shoreline Plastics, where durability meets innovation. Let's use some chat GPT here. I'm actually curious. So what is the claw force of a fiddler crab in contrast to a blue crab?
maybe right at the end or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see here. Uh crabs. Wow. Estimated claw force is, this makes no sense. About equal to 1 to 5 newtons.
Perfect.
Whatever that means. Despite its size, it's relatively weak because it's more for display and deterring rivals than functional strength. Whereas a blue crab is up to 600 newtons or approximately
There we
100,
go.
135 pounds of force. Yeah, so stay away from the blue crab and have fun with the fiddler crab. It's interesting. It says the large claw, which makes up nearly half its body weight. Didn't know that either. A large claw is half the body weight of a fiddler crab. So interesting. It's almost like uh, when a dude drives up in a big giant lifted truck and then he gets out and he's 5'6", 120 pounds soaking wet.
That's a fiddler crab. That's exact. Yeah. They
Anyways,
look evil, man.
yeah, yeah, so true. Well, man, I'm excited to see what comes this season. The bluefin tuna run was insane. You guys obviously chase those down a little bit, do some of that. Now we got this cool tog bite that's happening. I mean, in your opinion, I think we talked about this last year about this time where we're kind of seeing year over year where like conservation efforts in conjunction with weather pattern changes and this, that, and the other, they have a sort of macro impact on the fishery in the coming season. Like if you had to just take a guess at this year's, season ahead, do you think it's going to be about the same as last year? Do you think it's going to be different in any way, whether that's like more quantity of fish or a higher quality of fish? And then my last question is, you know, the new regulations for cobia, how are you going to adapt to those with your charter?
All right. For starters, I think this year is going to be phenomenal. At least number one for the redfish. And the reason for that is I've been going to Hatteras even 3, 4 weeks ago. We were going to Hatteras, North Carolina, and we were catching reds, the big ones, off the
Yeah.
beach. And the water, it was still ice cold outside and just crushing the redfish. So there's going to be no lack of redfish. That's my first expectation. As for cobias, I think they have a natural protection on them, and we saw
Mm-hmm.
so many last year, so many. Even the time in August, remember when the water got real cold? The divers were still seeing them. It's not like they were
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
It was just there was a lot of fish, and they have a natural protection anyway of not eating. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to be plenty abundant this year. It's just going to be getting them to eat, as
Hmm.
always. We've talked about baits and all that good stuff. What was the last question?
The new Kobe regulations. How are you going to
New
adapt?
cobia
How are you going to
regulation.
adapt to them?
So 43 inches. Uh, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I really don't. I really, really don't. Uh, you know, our average keeper fish last year was probably at least 43 to 45.
Hmm.
There's not many days you go out there and you'd be like, is he 40 inches? Oh, he's 41. Oh, put him in the box. Sure, at 9 a.m. in the morning, when you just get out there on a charter and it's like 40 and a quarter, 40 and a half, you're gonna box them up. But realistically, you would kill that fish, put them in the box, and then you catch a 48 incher later, a
Right.
55 incher later, a 52. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It might be a little bit stressful early because you don't have one in the box at 9 a.m. But by 10, 11, I don't think
Yeah.
43 is going to be that hard to achieve, especially with the sizes we had last year. I'm
Hmm.
not going to say we had a bunch of giants last year, but we had a consistent, nice quality of fish. I mean, how many days? I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that what you can kill two or 50, right? This
You
year?
you can kill any two fish over 43 inches legally.
Exactly. So, but last year was, only one over 50. And that
Right.
was a lot of the days was you killed a 51 and you're like, I don't even talk to you, tournament man. But 51, you're like, what do I do now? Oh,
Yeah.
let's hope this one's 49 inches. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
lot of days that
Yeah.
it was keeping two under 50 as opposed to keeping two over 40. So
Right.
I think it's
So
going
for
to be fine.
yeah,
Um, I don't think there's going to be much of an issue at all, honestly.
I would agree. And I mean, doing some research on it myself just to kind of get educated. There's I think the one thing that everyone ultimately is concerned about is like the reproductive capabilities and health of the population, right? So, a female cobia reaches maturity and is able to reproduce once they get to kind of like that 36 to 40 inch range at the fork. So, you know, 40 to 43 inches being preserved to, basically live another year before they get harvested is a full, spawn cycle, another 12-month spawn cycle for them before they potentially get harvested. So I guess in theory, it's adding that many more potential, eggs and potential hatched cobias to the population in theory.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to talk about it on the show as the season unfolds. I think we can still kind of look at some common sense metrics and go, hey, uh, cobia yields a huge amount of meat. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not a great reason to justify killing, two over 50 unless you're just like, hey, this is what I want to accomplish today. Hey, cool, But me and others, I think, are happy to just take those couple of mid 40-inch fish, and you got a great yield. They eat great, in my opinion, better than some of those larger fish, easier to fillet, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, you get so much meat off of cobias is insane. Back in the day, when we could kill even 37 inchers and it was one per person, we'd come back in with even, three or four some days with 37-inch cobias.
Yeah,
All we call small now. I mean,
yeah,
the amount of meat you would go home with would be multiple full five, just huge Ziploc bags. And it's like, what are you gonna do with all that meat? Like it's tons.
it's
It's tons. And now it's 43 inches. Oh my God. What's a 43
yeah,
inch cubby weigh? Probably 28 pounds, I would guess.
yeah, probably right about that.
So 28 pounds. You're just so much meat. So it's probably better anyway. I mean, you get so much meat. It's insane. Those fish are
Yeah.
just a meatball anyway.
Oh yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, and then even then, let's just call it, 43 inches is probably going to be, like you said, around 28, 30 pounds. You get an average, what, 1/3 yield. So cleaned with the bloodline out, let's call it 8 pounds, right? So you're still, if you kill two 43 inches, you're walking home with 15, 16 pounds of fillet, which is at market, $22 a pound times 15 pounds. What is that? Almost
You're
300
smart. I can't say.
300-ish dollars or something like that. Don't, no, it's probably more than that. Um, anyways, some mathematician listening is cringing, but at any rate, it's a lot of meat, and you can feed yourself and your family for many days and have plenty to still, freeze and put in the freezer. And I think you would attest to this too. Early on, it's like we harvest a lot, and you feel like a squirrel, like, putting acorns away before the winter. But it's like, no, the fish will be there tomorrow. You don't need to kill that much. It's a ton of
Yeah.
meat. So
Yeah, that
uh,
happens. That happens a lot. I mean, you
yeah.
kill. Even now, I'm so far into the fishing thing is I kill too much, and I'm like, what am I gonna freaking do with all this meat? So next thing I know, I'm calling up everybody on my phone, like, yo, you want this meat? Like, I can't do anything with this. But you look at a fish, you're like, oh, I'll eat that, no problem, no problem, no problem. And then you're the next thing you know, you fillet it all out, and you're like, there's no chance one person's eating this, two people's eating this,
Mm,
and so you got to start giving it out.
yep.
So
Yep.
43 is
That's
a solid box. Two
uh,
43s, that's a good day.
oh yeah, you're again, it's about $300-ish. So like whatever you paid for a charter, subtract the value of 300 something dollars and the fact that it's uh sourced in a cool way. You got the memories to go with it, and it's as fresh as it could possibly get because it's not going from a commercial boat to a commercial dock and then to a shelf
Yeah.
where you can buy it. So, anyways, enough about that. Planning your next saltwater adventure? Whether you're nearshore, coastal, or offshore, the right safety gear is just as essential as your tackle. A reliable life raft from survivalatsea.com keeps you prepared because weather changes fast and emergencies happen when you least expect them. Survivalatsea.com offers top-rated life rafts built for any adventure, from bay waters to the open ocean. Right now, get $50 off any new life raft with code GDO50 at checkout. Stay safe, stay prepared. Visit survivalatsea.com today and fish with confidence. I'm excited for the year ahead. Folks that are listening, I'm sure, are getting excited for a chance for a warm, sunny day to get out there and fish with you. If they want to book Fineo and go chase some of these bull reds, cobias, or anything else that has a tail, uh, what's the best way to contact you and get booked on a trip?
Best way to get a hold of me is you can always give me a call. Phone number is 757-530-4009. Or you could check out our Instagram. We do stories. All of our posts are on there. You could always shoot me a DM on that, but that's the best way, honestly, to keep up to date with what we're doing. So I would check out the Instagram. That's Instagram at Fineo Sport Fishing.
Got it. Very cool. Well, thanks for being on the show, man. We look forward to future reports, and we'll talk to you real soon.
All right, man.
All
Good
right, man.
having you.
Appreciate it. Yep, likewise. All right, y'all. That's going to wrap up a really cool segment talking with Captain Austin Hain of Fineo Sport Fishing. Let's hang out for a quick second, hear a word from one of our great sponsors that makes this content free for you each week, and we'll be back with you soon. Hooked on fishing? Then you're part of the local community that Long Bay Point Bait and Tackle cares about serving and giving back to, providing you with the right selection for each season's target species. They're your one-stop shop to gear up with the best bait, tackle, and insider tips to catch your next trophy fish. You can fuel up right out front on the water and then chat with the crew inside for hot tips on where they're biting. So swing by today. Long Bay Point Bait and Tackle, where your fishing adventures start and finish with your trophy catch on their scales. All right, you guys. Man, we've been having some fun chatting with some of the captains this week. I'm excited to hear a little bit about what's been going on offshore, as well as some upcoming offshore. Man, I can't talk today. Offshore opportunities. Welcome back to the show. One of our favorites. We love talking to this guy, Captain Bill Pappas, aboard playing hooky. Welcome back, brother. How we doing?
Hey man, how's it going, man? I'm doing all right.
Good, man. I'm doing well, and glad to hear you're doing well as well. You've been a traveling fiend lately. First, it was Hawaii. Now it's Florida. I saw you
Oh
catching some bluegills, some little pond guppies. Tell us a little bit about that. What were you doing?
man, you busted me, man. I just well, it was one of those things where you like I was saying way back when a couple casts ago that when you feel accomplished or you feel like you finally do something, it was for me it was going to Hawaii, and by going there I kind of felt like I was missing out, or not missing out, but I deserved to show the respect to my parents by going to visit them too, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
miss my parents, they're in Florida, so I went down there real quick before their season starts out, and I only literally was there 48 hours. But I just got to get a round of golfing with my dad, caught a fish, got a lot of meals. I brought him fresh yellowfin,
mm,
straight from the ocean, 2 days old, and I made him some tuna steaks. So that was, that was the highlight for me. Flying with the tuna right there, fresh as it gets, frozen. I froze it up and vacuum sealed it, and I brought it there.
that's perfect.
Made him a fresh tuna dinner.
You said 2 days old. You meant 2 days fresh. That's as good as it gets right there.
Yeah, you got that right. That is fresh as it gets, buddy. We
No,
bled it and everything. It was a great fish.
one of the things that I love about you is that your excitement for fishing could be an 800-pound bluefin tuna or an 8-ounce, bluegill out of a pond. You're still
Man,
excited about it.
pumped, man, pumped, man. You know, I needed him. I chopped him up for some bait. I either got a gator or I don't know. I probably had a gator, man, because it ate my rig. It ate everything. I may have set a double up on it and cut that sucker up and threw him back out. Yeah, I just flew
Uh,
for the pick though.
that's funny, man. Well, tell us a little about fresh yellowfin tuna. I know you guys did a little bit of a shakedown trip offshore. Tell us a little bit about what you guys did to go chase those down.
Well, it all started in the boatyard, man. It was everybody was catching some yellowfins. We said we were gonna go charge the tunas. I said this in a cast ago as well. And man, that bottom paint, that Hempel bottom paint, Alan, you can get up with Alan, but he has this killer bottom paint from Hempel. And it just we were finally having a long enough run, 100 and I think 105 was our initial run. So we had a
Mm-hmm.
chance to check how the mileage worked on this paint, and usually, you're expecting 100 miles there, 100 miles back, a lot of trolling in between. You're expecting out of 230 gallons, you're almost going to burn 200, 190, 200 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did last year with the bottom fairly dirty and other things. Lots, and we went all the way down there. So we do our, what do we call it? It's our excursion, man. I forgot how, it's not an adventure, but it's our yearly,
Pilgrimage.
I think that's the word I was looking for. Our pilgrimage. That's what it was. It was our pilgrimage. We run down there and we try to pillage, to be honest with you. We run down there and, we roll right to the warm water. There was this fake patch of warm water on the way that just really got her. It was green, but it had lots of grass and it was just fooling us. So I just was like, no, we're going all the way down. We saw all the way down there, and sure enough, when we get down there, put lines over. There's another boat that comes up from Carolina with us. He's out there fishing as well, and we're hooking up tunas. They're slowing down. We're catching fish, and we're catching them pretty quick. But it ends up not being yellowfin. It ends up being a blackfin. And the next one
Ooh.
ends up being a skipjack. Then another skipjack. Then another skipjack. And then another skipjack. And the grass was thick as it gets in that area, and we're getting constant bites. And we could have probably, like I was telling him, I was like, yo, on a charter, it would have been great. Everybody having a fun reeling in these tunas, 20-pound skipjacks. They're not the greatest, but they're table fare. And they're not, bled and just even not even unbled. They're just fine the first couple of days. You can eat them raw. They're great. They're not so bad, but they're not what you're looking for when you're going yellowfin fishing. You want some yellowfins, it's great action. I get it. So we popped off, we got out of that zone and headed down a little bit. And there was another cluster of boats kind of zooming in and cutting each other off. And we're like, let's go play this game. And we got in the mix and found ourselves some birds picking. I'd made a nice turn and hooked up a yellowfin. We had a nice, good run on a yellowfin. Got him to the boat, got him gaffed up. It was great. I'm up top watching the team do their thing. It was, the conditions were, above average, a little bit, sporty, some would say.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting being out there. But we fumbled back and forth with all the other boats, and there wasn't a red hot catch that day. I mean, when you're next to the Smoker, which is a great boat, and you got all these top notch boats from down there, the Oregon Inlet Fleet fishing right with you. You're in the right area, fishing,
Right.
and they're being caught. They're just
Mm-hmm.
not red hot. There's no post those days. There's nothing like. I mean, there's tough days. Now the great days you'll see the post, and I get it. It's great for it. And there's days are just one day is good, one day's not. So we got down there. We ended up leaving with that. We had another couple knockdowns, and we had a shark. We had a big black tip come to the back of the boat and got him to the boat. And the guys, I was letting them know to cut that leader, and they figured out the hard way to let that sucker go next time. You could slide the head up of the jig or the Joe shoot or whatever, magic tail or something like that. You can slide the head up and cut it off. But
Ah,
a
that's
lot
good
of
to know.
time, it is, man. It's a good tip to have when you really don't want to lose your this or that. But dude, it's your arm or a $20 hook or a $15 hook, man.
Right.
I mean, I really like your arm, Russ. I really like your arm. You know what I mean, Matt? You're gonna need that hand, buddy.
Yeah.
You're the chef. You're the lead chef at the
Yeah.
Lucky Oyster. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they need you, bud. Anyway.
Yeah. You got to have your hands for
You
that
got it,
job.
man. Hands are important, but they both, we had a good time, man. We
It's
rode back and we got really good gas miles as a point of that, man. We had 160 gallons burned. We averaged 1.45. We were used to average 1.2 to 1.3,
wow. And you would
1.1
contribute
fully.
contribute
Oh,
that to the bottom paint.
100%. 100% to that bottom paint doing that for us. Well, that we got the motors tuned right. We've got the
Hmm.
bottom fixed up where we don't have a big saltwater wash down slowing the boat and pulling it to one side and cavitating the motor. It
Ah,
was a lot of things got into getting her right, but he's a whistle now. She's ready to
that's
rock.
awesome. Sam Rust Seafood, your locally trusted source for premium wholesale seafood. Servicing customers from Hampton Roads down through the Outer Banks, Richmond, and surrounding areas, including Fredericksburg, Charlottesville, and Lynchburg, for over 80 years. Committed to the highest standards in the industry, Sam Rust distributes the best of the ocean directly to your restaurant, hotel, or grocery store on time and at a great price. Visit samrust.com to discover how quality, tradition, and sustainability come together. So don't cuss, call Sam Rust. I would have never considered that. So you're talking about the high speed pickup for the washdown?
Yes, sir. Yeah, if you get the high speed, it's a brass one. Thanks to
Hmm.
Troy Marine. Hey Troy, what's up, buddy? Thanks for that. And Troy gave me the high speed pickup. He had two different ones just in case one didn't fit, but one fit perfectly. We put the other one out. The other one was a clamshell. It was a
Mm.
big clamshell, and it had these big cheese graters on it, and it literally threw air into the port side motor because it was placed a little bit too far back.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So it's causing cavitation. I was thinking it was
You
almost
got it.
causing drag, but you're
And
talking
it was
about,
both. It was both. It was that, and it was causing drag. It was causing drag as well. The cavitation was the worst part because you'd change oils and you'd have one oil a little darker than the other, and I
mm,
could always see one was yellow still, and one wasn't. Like, how does that work out? Well, it doesn't. One's not working as hard, and the other one's hasn't having to make up for it. So that's
uh,
another thing that probably contributed to the gas mileage working out as well.
right. It's almost like, in simple terms, it would be like having, driving in the rain and one tire is completely bald, whereas the other one still has traction. So your thrust or your torque is coming more from the tire with traction than the one that's slipping.
You got it. Yeah, that's exactly what it would be like. Yeah, one of
Interesting.
them because one of them slipping the whole time when it spin, it would vibrate. It would literally shake the motor. It
Wow.
would shake it. But you know what? It's good to
Glad you
go,
found
man.
that.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, that's a huge difference. If we're talking about a similar trip and it was roughly 30, 40 miles, 30, 40 gallons less burned.
Oh yeah, but 210. You're talking. Yeah, that was a huge difference, and that's just having a good boat. A efficient boat, a fuel efficient boat, and with the oversized motors for so it doesn't have to burn. I mean, I'm 35, 40, 4,200. Cruising.
Hmm.
We're not even running that sucker. Not even running that hard to get her. I mean, don't get me wrong. We get close enough where we can get her slick. We're gonna see what she's got in the tank. See what she's got under the hood there. If you
That's
have 600 horses, you gotta feed them, man. You gotta let them eat.
yeah,
That's the way it works.
that's amazing. Well, so I'm assuming you mentioned the Joe Shoot. So were you targeting yellowfin kind of in the similar way that you go after the bluefin, dragging it, 4 to 6 knots, pulling Joe Shoots,
No, we
was
weren't. Not at
totally
all.
different?
Yeah, that's the thing is when you go from one, you're doing, and especially in Virginia Beach, the way a lot of guys do it around here, we have them way out the back, and it's all that.
Hmm.
It's just the way it works because of the water and the clarity of these things' eyes. When they come down from there, they can see pretty good. But up there, when you're in the blue water and you're tuna fishing, you want them a little closer. You run your spread a little different. You can get away with some trackers and bars out, but not a lot of people do it just because the amount of sharks that are there.
Right.
You just don't want to lose all your stuff one day getting into a good bite. A lot of times on the charters, the guys are smart enough to know that you're just not going to get these fish brought into the boat that efficiently. Now, there's people that are going to come out there, they're full diesel muscle men, and you
Hmm.
can imagine a muscle man, and he doesn't know which rhythm to do, and he's not pumping and pulling at the right time, and he's pulling and pumping at the wrong time. He's going to wear himself out, man.
Mm.
So you can see it from anybody. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It just matters. You can have a smaller guy, doesn't seem that big a guy, but he knows how to fight a fish, and he gets to get that fish in 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. It all depends on knowing when to pull, knowing when to pump. And a lot of people just come out for a great time, and they're not fishermen from offshore. They're from Minnesota, trying to do something fun on a vacation. So these fish that are coming to the boat or take longer,
Hmm.
present themselves for sharks. You know what I mean? They have way more
Yeah.
time because when that fish gets tired, and they get tired, they rest. And that's when you can't rest. You got to get that
Got to
fish
keep
to the
fighting it.
boat. Yeah, you got to get them to the
Yeah.
boat, man. So that's going to contribute a lot more sharks.
Interesting. Well,
Things like that.
it's time we talked about catching some serious savings. Imagine harnessing the power of the sun to cut your energy bills and having a roof that's built to last. Convert Solar and Roofing specializes in top notch solar installations and durable roofing solutions that stand up to the toughest elements. Their solar panels are designed to maximize efficiency, and their roofs are built with premium materials to ensure long-lasting protection. Whether you're out on the water or at home, their expert team ensures you're covered. As fellow anglers in the Lower Chesapeake Bay, the team at Convert Solar and Roofing cares about both sustainable living and sustainable fishing. So reel in those savings today and visit www.convert-solar.com or call 757-44-SOLAR. Make your energy and roof as reliable as your favorite fishing lure. Call Convert Solar and Roofing today. It's good to get educated on that, but something you said, has really kind of been a point of controversy lately. So we're talking about saving money, like the lengths that us boat owners go to save $1 here or $1 there. So, the difference in bottom paint, the difference in cavitation from a high-speed pickup. I mean, we bust our butts to try to find, a quarter there or 20 cents there, whatever the case, right? And I want to carefully bring this up and get your opinion, but Virginia Beach has definitely put some pressure on us recreational boat owners with this proposed tax. And I know that you went on behalf of, all of us concerned parties, those of us with boats, and spoke. Can you just kind of tell the listeners a little bit about what that experience was like, why you went and spoke, and maybe just share a quick synapse of like, what did you say?
I sure can. I get, there's certain things that'll rile me up and make me have to do stuff. Not like I want to, I just have to. And I had
Hmm.
been working really hard that day. I've been working really hard for weeks. And actually, when it comes down to it, we've been working hard for years to keep this business alive.
Yeah.
And I heard about the new tax, and I do own recreational boats. And I went in there and I was a few minutes late, but the experience was pretty cool because you go in there and you're passionate, so you walk in and you hear people talking. You're just trying to figure out how you're going to even talk. That's the
Hmm.
first thing you want to do. So I looked around, I found the guy in the back working a computer, and I was like, I went up to him because I didn't want to disturb the person talking, so I was real quiet and went over there and I was like, hey, how can I talk? And they were like, go all the way down there, and of course it's right in the front. It's almost right in front of everybody. So I got all the way down there, and these kind women down there, and they got me checked in, got a little piece of paper, and boom. So I sat and waited. And while I sat and waited, I listened to the same thing from residents and concerned citizens, tournament directors. Just, I mean, you name it. The guy who runs Russ Costinas, who runs the
Top notch.
Top
Yeah.
Notch Boat, but he also runs the Virginia Beach Convention Center's
Oh
boat
yeah.
show. He does the boat
The mid
show, and
the
they
Mid
sell a
Atlantic
lot of
Boat Show.
boats.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you're in Virginia Beach trying to sell boats, and it's going to be tough when you add those kind of taxes, and I was listening to those types of speeches, and I was listening to this awesome woman who came up there and let them have it. She ripped it. She was like, look, and she was just like, just a citizen, and she likes boating and stuff like that. And there was another guy who was like, man, I wouldn't have bought the $1 million boat in Virginia Beach if I know he was going to get a $10,000 tax every year. Like, how are you doing this? And everybody had the same consensus. So I didn't have anything written down. First of all, I got my phone out and kind of put a few little words on it, and got the order of what I wanted to say in my head, kind of. And I listened to everybody else's stuff, and I kind of piggybacked off what they're saying. And I went up there and tried to speak for the charter captains who weren't there, because I know we all love boating and boats and people boating in this area. I
Hmm.
try to speak for all my buddies and my sister and my family, including myself, who owns recreational boats. I actually,
Right.
I have a 25-footer still I pay taxes on.
Hmm.
I still, I still haven't sold, and I still have a John boat. I just have other boats with other friends at, Virginia Beach. It just sounded ludicrous. And so
Yeah.
I went up there, and I really, really was trying to figure out, like, you know, we just came out of like a really hard time to keep alive. I was just begging for an income from COVID. I was just begging for an income for sea bass getting shut. And
Yeah.
now I'm begging you guys to not throw another tax on us so you can dredge the inlets. Now hold on here, dredge the inlets. Now what has happened? You guys ran out of money, and now you're trying to find a new tax, and you're going to just charge one set of citizens. And you know what? When it comes to things that are right and wrong, I just can't take it, And I
Mm.
wanted to know, I kind of wanted to know who proposed it, who thought it was a great idea, like during this time. Like, I wanted to say, who would raise their hand, but I asked him that, and I answered my own question rhetorically, that nobody would raise their hand because nobody here in this thing supports it. And if you support anybody in this city and you're listening to any of us, then we're going to need you to vote no on this. We're going to need you
Right.
to say,
Right.
hey, you had an idea. This is not going to work. And we are
Hmm.
not going to be and this is not going to happen. Now, deep down, we don't know if we're about to go in a recession. We don't know if we're going to go up. A lot of us have a lot of faith that a lot of good things are going to happen. We don't know any of that. There's nothing in cement right now. And where we're at right now is nobody. It's a bad economy. Nobody
Hmm.
has money right now. The prices are coming down. It's great, but it hasn't happened yet. It's not,
Right.
here we go. You know,
Yeah.
it's just not there yet. And the charter bookings, the business, everything around this area, the tourism is down. Is still
Hmm.
down. It's not the
Yep.
restaurants that we work right next to, they're down.
Hmm.
Now, if you throw another tax on us at this point in time, not knowing it's just the wrong time, you cannot do that. If you had a great idea before we were speaking before that if they'd have tried a few less, a few cents here and there, they might have slid that under the rug. But it's still the wrong time for any of that. Let's see what
Well,
happens. Let's
yeah,
see where we're gonna be and where we're going. We cannot throw that on us without a better reason than just dredging the inlets that you
right.
got
Which
to
should
have
have
for
been
fire and safety and for military. The military alone with the SEALs going in and out of there for training, the fire department, this is state things that need to be done. Now the Dolphin Watch and all the other boats and charters, yeah, okay,
right.
maybe
Right.
not, but the recreational boats, come
Right.
on.
How does it fall? How does the
Hmm.
responsibility or the financial burden fall to us? And typically, like I've served on the board of like a condo association and things like big ticket items like replacing a roof, etc. Like that stuff gets budgeted for years in advance, right?
Right.
So, but it's interesting. So you mentioned like how we should have maybe come in or they could have slid it under the rug potentially if it was a smaller percent. So just for people listening's understanding, the
Huh.
the current rate, pay attention here, is 0.000001 cents per $100 of assessed value. So that makes the new rate of a $1.50 per $100 of assessed value a percentage increase. Ready for this? Of 149 million percent, according to ChatGPT. 149 million% increase.
Wow.
Think about that
Man.
from what we're currently paying in assessed value tax. And then the crazy thing to me too is that like, well, who makes the assessment of the value of your vessel?
Oh my, exactly.
The
Exactly. The
the
city
same
does.
people assessing the tax. So, it's tough. And I'm not saying anything ill against anyone that's involved in the city because, they're public servants. They have a job to do,
I get
and
it.
I believe people are well intentioned, but it's
I'm
just
just
one of
asking them
those.
to do their job. That's all I asked them in
Yeah.
the thing was, hey, can you do your job? And your job is going to be to listen to the citizens if you represent the citizens and find out,
Hmm.
and the proposal, hey, man, you win it. Everybody makes mistakes, man. You win some and you lose some, and there's great ideas and there's not good ideas. But you know what you got to do? You got to run the ideas by the people sometimes. And when you
Right.
run them by the people and you get this kind of response, we're talking what, a 500,000 views? I mean, there's the comments on these things. I've cleaned a lot of it up. I've been going through it and cleaning it up, but
Right.
you know,
I mean, shoot, there's so many other better places to take it. Like take it out of the Virginia lottery. Take it anywhere else. Take it anywhere else besides and I think it's because it's an easy assessment to look at the recreational boat owner that has a boat over 18 feet and kind of like figuratively say, well, that's a luxury item. So maybe they have disposable income. Well, here, let's run the math. So they're trying to raise 40, excuse me, let me go down here. The goal is to raise $4.3 million annually. Okay. That's what the goal is. And when you look at the total number of documented vessels that meet this criteria in Virginia Beach, it's about 1,300. You do the math on that, that's a burden on average. Granted, some boats are significantly more valuable than others. So this is an average of the number of registered boat owners, recreational, into the annual budget surplus they're trying to create. So the average per person, that's an increase of $3,200 per year out of your pocket in tax.
32, an average of
An
thirty-two
average.
hundred dollars, and half those boats leave. No, no. Now say half the boats leave, and do the math again. We're talking $6,400.
Correct.
That's
Correct. But
$6,400 for the rest of us because that's what they're trying to raise out of it. It's just
yeah, because
never. It's just
all you got to do is go
no.
register your boat in Portsmouth or Chesapeake. Chesapeake, the tax is 0.9, yeah, 9 cents. The tax in Portsmouth is 50 cents, a little bit higher. But at any rate, I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of all the recreational boat owners who listen to this podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day, for caring enough to drive, to where this meeting was held and to address this with passion and professionalism. You did a great job speaking. And I should add, it's gotten so popular on social media. I think between TikTok and Facebook, you've got almost 1 million views of
Ugh.
you at city council addressing, this. And so the date, I think, coming up where the city council, is it city council that will vote on
I believe so.
May yeah, Virginia Beach City
13.
Council will, yeah, May the 13th. All the public hearings have been held. And so they're going to, deliberate on the final budgets. Tired of battling salt corrosion on your boat, trailer, and reels? Meet Salt's Gone, your ultimate solution. This powerful, instantly acting chelating agent tackles salt and brine with ease, featuring corrosion inhibitors to protect against future damage and surfactants for a thorough clean. Salt's Gone is pH neutral, making it safe for all boat materials metal, glass, paint, vinyl wraps, and more. Highly concentrated, just 1 gallon creates 100 gallons of ready to use solution. Apply it with or without running water. It's perfect for any situation. Use code GreatDays10 to save 10% at saltsgone.com. Or if you need faster delivery, use Amazon or your favorite retailer. So I guess in 2 weeks we'll be talking about this to see what the outcome is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully they, if they could just really lower the pressure to say, hey, we've taken it off there. If they're taking it off,
Mm-hmm.
just go ahead and release that already, just because they could lower some heat. Because I mean, they didn't. It was not a good look. You had two city council members on the end of the table with just staring at their phone during most of the speeches there. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. Everybody has lives and things to attend to, but man, if you're up there representing, you got to make space out some time.
Yeah.
I had just left the boatyard and ran home, got a trailer stuck to the boat. I had to rip off. And almost, you know what I did? I literally took the ball off and drove off with the ball like in the trailer still. I couldn't take it out. I just had to drive off without it, and that was that. And I had to fix that later. But that's the kind of I just rushed up
Action.
there as fast as
Yeah.
like, man, I had to get there. I needed to be there. For some reason I needed to be there. Now
For
I know
sure.
why.
Yeah. Well, I'm especially appreciative that you
You're
did.
welcome, man. I really appreciate that. I
Yeah.
heard that from the heart, man. I appreciate that. I had a
I,
few good phone calls and a good few messages and some people that I really respect, call me up and let me know that what they thought of that. That was really that's pretty cool. They thought.
yeah. It makes me think of a really cool saying. I want to read it because it's cool. It's a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, where he says, uh, let's see, I want to read it because it's such a great quote. He says, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred with dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error, shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds." So my credit to you, the man that actually stepped into the arena and got his hands dirty on behalf of those of us who couldn't be there. So again, thank you.
Man, you gotta send me that quote. I really like that.
Yeah,
That was
it's a
good.
good one. There's a shorthand version of it that's a little bit but it's a powerful one. And Theodore Roosevelt was a great leader, but yeah, it takes, when wrongdoing happens, which it does, because human nature is flawed. We
Yeah,
do we do we do
people can make
selfish dumb
mistakes.
things. But now we're starting to sound like a TED Talk podcast talking about life. But just like fishing, life, it all runs together, where you got to do the right thing consistently if you expect good things to happen. So at any rate, back to tuna fishing and the upcoming fishing. So you've got the golden tile and some other deep drop coming up. If folks want to get out there and chase those with you guys, what's the best way for folks to contact you and get booked on playing hooky?
Well, for the walk-on trips, they can go to playinghookycharters.com.
Mm-hmm.
There's no G in that, so it's playinghookycharters.com, and
Yep.
you can go to the walk-on section, and that's
Okay.
where we got the walk-on trips coming up, and we also have trips going to be available for the tile fish and sea bass coming up in May, and we're going to be doing a little bit more tog, just a tiny bit more togging
Mm-hmm.
possibly, and the drum. We're going to go looking for some drums soon. So hopefully the drums show up, and then this turns into cobia, and we're going to be looking for tuna. So the tuna is the main priority here. We have the option if somebody wants to pay the extra fuel to chase those down,
Yeah.
and we're going to try to give that a go Sunday, I believe. So I might have a yellowfin report for you if the weather holds out for us.
Very cool. Well, it's always a pleasure getting to talk with you, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome, brother.
All right, man. Cheers. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in. Stick around for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with you soon. Would your insurance cover an air ambulance in a medical emergency? The fact is, insurance doesn't cover the full cost of medical flights, leaving you and your loved ones at financial risk. But with an Air Medcare network membership, you can focus on recovery, not on finances, should the unexpected happen. They take care of everything with no costs for flights, only when flown by one of their providers. Membership covers your full household and starts at $99 a year. Visit gdo.deals/airmedcare to enroll. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up this week. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, to get your free AFCO Camo Sunglasses Cleaner Cloth, text the acronym LCBFR to 779-345-2918 to get your promo code and be added to our email list so we can send you the new show each week. You guys keep on whacking them and be safe out there.